Hello, everyone. How are we all doing? Who is with me today? Cosmodium, I see you're with us. Welcome. I'm just getting set up here as always. Pretty much good to go. Let's see. Yeah. So hope you're all doing well, whoever's with us today. I think it's going to be a fun one, nice relaxed one today. You probably all know what it is by now. We've had a lot of fun putting the thumbnails together for this one. Well, I say we. I can take no credit other than my mug being all over them. But yeah, it's been a fun afternoon putting all this stuff together. I'm great, Cosmodium. How are you? Hope you're well. Thank you for joining us as always. Hello to our usual regular stream community and anybody that might be joining us for the first time. Welcome. Just trying to think if there's any housekeeping to do this week in terms of things. There's one thing that I do have to say is that I'm very soon going to be putting the MIDI file, the Cubase project file and the MIDI file for our Marvel fanfare on our Discord community. I know a few of you have asked for it. I pretty much put it together now. So in the next day or two, I'm going to be posting that up so you guys can take a look at that. You know, we did it live on the stream, but you guys can dig in, and if you want to, rework it or see how it's put together or improve it or whatever you want to do, you can have a look at that. And yeah, we'd be interested to see if you do anything with it. Hello, Bannerman. How are you doing? Yeah, so that will be on our Discord. So if you're not on our Discord, there's a link in the description below. Make sure you do get on the Discord. We're going to be sort of posting more stuff on there. And occasionally we'll probably post the MIDI files of certain projects as well if we can, for you guys to have a little dig around in. They're just all a bit of fun. I won't be posting things like plugins and stuff like that because they don't translate very well. And, a lot of you might not have the same plugins that I use or anything, so they're not that useful anyway. But the actual MIDI data and all of that stuff will be in there, and you'll get a little look at sort of how we put everything together and be able to dig in and have some fun with that. So yeah, we definitely make that Marvel one available, and maybe a few more going forward as well. If anybody in particular wants to see some of the ones that we've done and we can make them available, we will. Today, you guys probably know by now, is a very, very different sort of thing. It's Mario, or more specifically, Epic Mario. We're going epic with Mario today. Mario Kart World has come out recently. I haven't played it, but I mean, someone of my age, I remember Mario and Mario Kart very well. Also remember the music, so we thought, why not have a bit of fun with it today and just do something epic-y, trailery. It sort of uses a bit of both worlds, and just sort of have some fun with that main theme. Got some fun ideas that I've already started working on with it, and we'll just walk through and we'll just have a good time together, have a chat while we're doing it. We're not too worried about getting it all finished. If we do, great. If we don't, that's fine. We'll either do it another time or, yeah, we'll just see where we get to with it today. But I've already done a few things with it, so I'm going to share that with you in a second, and we'll just carry on where I've left off. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, you want to get involved in any way as we go, just go in the chat. I'm here. Some of the other Audio Imperia guys may also turn up as well, and we usually just end up having a good chat, and any questions or thoughts or comments or ideas, we'll just get around to having a chat about all that stuff. So that's going to be cool. Hopefully you guys can hear everything and see everything. We'll move over in a minute to our door view, and we shall see what we've been up to. I'm just trying to think if there's any more housekeeping, any other things that you guys need to be aware of. I don't think there is. As always, if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe so you get all the notifications about videos and live streams that we're doing. We had another video come out on Sunday, me and Tom giving you sort of 5 little tips that we wish we'd known a long time ago, because you know what it's like. Everybody has a long process of learning, usually the hard way, how all this stuff works and all these cool ideas that you can use. And yeah, me and Tom just put together 5 that we thought, oh, we wish he'd known this like a decade ago. Certainly I do. Tom's not old enough to have known it a decade ago. He's a young pup, but I should have known some of this stuff 2 decades ago, and I didn't. So yeah, if you guys want to check that video out, it'll just be nice, short, simple 5 tips just to hopefully give you some ideas for your own MIDI composition. Cool. So I'm going to move us over to the door view in a moment, and we shall just have some fun and get started with this and see sort of where we get to today. So let's move over. Here we go. So this is the door view for today. You can see I've already done a fair bit of work on this, but I have a kind of end part that I really want to work on today. We'll do some more at the sort of Act 1 and Act 2 as well. But we've got this end part which isn't that fleshed out, which we will try and get as far as we can with. Whether or not we'll finish it, I don't know. Like I said, we're not really worried too much about how far we get with these things. We're not on any deadline or anything, so we'll just see how we do. But what I am going to do is start off by showing you this little piano sketch that I put together, which, you know, you might recognize some of the stuff if you're fans of Mario. Yeah, so we're starting off with this really simple idea. I thought, the idea with this was to kind of do a trailer / epic track. There's some overlap between trailer and epic. They're not really the same genre, but they have a lot of the same elements. So what we usually end up doing is kind of fusing them together. Parts of this will be very trailer-like. Parts of it might not be so trailer-like. It might be more just sort of epic or kind of cinematic retelling. And we sort of bolt them together, and we'll talk a little bit about, you know, some of the trailer techniques we use, some of the epic music techniques we use, and where some of those overlap and where some of them are different. And as usual, if you guys have any questions or anything along the way, feel free to ask. So Mario, we decided to use the theme and kind of make it an epic trailer version. I had this idea to start off with the famous Mario intro. So if you guys know that, I mean, if you've ever played Mario, you're bound to know what that is. Starting off with that, and then we have this sort of pause, which will be this big trailer hybrid thing. Then we'll go into this. Sounds a bit weird. You get the idea. I'm not going to make you listen to me hammering home on the C key for ages, but I've sort of taken this basic idea, this fragment of... And then underneath, I've got this idea for a pulse and other stuff going on, which you'll hear in a moment. And that carries on for a bit. And then we're going to have this sort of build up to the end section. Kind of a little pause here. And this is where we're going to have the full statement of the kind of Mario theme. So we have this. And I have this idea for the end, which I'm really excited about doing. So if you ever played Mario, you know you get the little, like, I say cheesy, it's not cheesy, it's amazing. But these little amazing, like, arpeggios when you've, like, done a level or you've got an item or something. So I have this idea of doing this. So that's the piano sketch, very, very basic. But you can see I've taken it a step further, and we'll talk a little bit about what I've done, and then we'll carry on. So my idea was to start off, I was thinking at first like a trailer piece. So there has been a Mario film recently, and there was trailer music for that, and they've done a similar kind of thing where they've taken elements of the theme, but we've done a very different approach in some ways. But my first idea was to start off almost sounding like a kind of slightly OTT SNES version, and then it goes into more traditional trailer stuff. Then we kind of move into the epic music realm, where maybe it moves a little bit away from trailer stuff. It's not quite as much focused around the hits and the groove of trailer music. Hey Ollie, how you doing? And then, yeah, we're going to do the back end, and that's going to be quite trailer-like as well, almost at the back end of a trailer piece. But as I say, this is not exactly trailer music. We're not literally making trailer music here. We're just taking some of the principles. So I'm going to play you what I've got so far. As you can see, I've already done a fair bit of this, but not all of it. I'm going to take you through what I've got so far, and then we're going to look at sort of trying to finish what we have and then doing this back end. And as I say, if we don't finish it today, it's fine, but it's going to be fun. So this is what we have. That's as far as we've got. So you can see the percussion drops out halfway through. We're missing some hits and some other elements, but you can kind of see the vibe that we're going for. I'm going to walk you through what we've done so far, or what I've done so far, and then we'll sort of look at trying to finish this off. It probably won't be completely perfect today, and then we're going to carry on and maybe try and get the back end done, or some of the back end done. let me walk you through how we've sort of put this together. So if I just maybe do, there we go, make this easier for us. Okay, so we're starting off with, I've made this super simple chiptune style synth. So chiptune is like the name they give to the old sort of fashioned way of doing music from those consoles when they used to literally use the kind of sound chips in those consoles. They were very, very limited. Really crazy, back then, some of the games were programmed not with synthesizers or anything like that, but literally programmed almost like on like a notepad style software where you had to like you would with MIDI data, putting every single note, the duration of every note, the type of every note, almost like a spreadsheet or a data table, and then that would be read by the computer. So a lot of the composers way back then used to have to literally map all this out in a kind of data table, really, rather than writing it on a door or something like that, which didn't really exist back then. I think that's crazy. That blows my mind. But we've gone for this kind of simple chiptune style sound. And I put a bit of reverb on there just to make sure it doesn't sound too chiptuney like. We don't want it to sound too much like an old-fashioned console. It's a trailer piece, so we always need a bit more hype than usual. So a bit of sort of reverb just to put it in some space and make it sound a bit more epic. But you can see this is free synth, Vital, a square wave, super common, basic sort of oscillator that's been used ever since synths have begun. There's an envelope on there to give it a sense of flow. Everything else is just not touched because we're trying to go for very simple sounds. And then we've also combined that with this really simple noise sort of rhythmic effect. Again, with old-fashioned chiptune stuff, you used to have maybe 2 or 3 different types of oscillators. Noise oscillator would usually be one, and then there'd usually be something like a square wave as well. Hello, Fox Cafe. Thanks for joining us. So I've done this sort of noise thing on top. Really, really, cheesy stuff. Same thing, just white noise. There's a slight filter on there, a little bit of an envelope to give it some movement and some shape. All pretty simple stuff. Again, I can always make the stuff available in Discord. I'm happy to share any presets I make or anything for this kind of stuff. That one's dry as a bone, so we really get that kind of dry element. But together they sound like this. So kind of old-fashioned, but also with the reverb, it makes it sound a bit more modern. And then alongside that, we have this really simple hit. And that's like our big, good old-fashioned modern trailer stuff. This little whoosh into the hit gives us something to work with in the beginning that, again, sounds trailer-like. What was the C2 playing before translated to? So I will show you what the C2 is playing now in a second. Let me just show you very quickly. It's this. I've created this simple sub. That's what it became. And then we also have some strings as well that'll be playing. I'll move on to that in a second. So yeah, we have these 3 elements here. That's our little gamey moment. And then we have this ping that comes in on that G. Again, very trailer-like. So these 2 bits alone are classic trailer-like. And then with the chiptune stuff, then we also have this gravitas piano playing the G there as well. We immediately have a riser come in. That's just going to take us through to the next section. Super common, a little bit of reverb on there to give it a bit of tail. And I think that's pretty much everything we have for this first section. We do have some drums as well. I've created these rolls just from our Jaeger, Grandcaster toms and snare rolls, and then just have them fading in. It's a bit weird on their own, but they just add this kind of... Sounds quite nice. I'd actually probably lower that a bit. That's pretty much it for the beginning. We may add 1 or 2 more elements if we really feel that we need them, but that's all sort of fine tuning. I think that's everything for this. So let's move on to this next part. So Cosmodium, as you were asking, this C2 has been turned in, again, simple sub, up here. I just made this myself, really simple, a few oscillators put together, mostly kind of saw and sine waves, a little bit of envelope shaping up here, and then some filter as well, which is just giving it some movement, a couple of other tiny bits and pieces, some unison and things like that. But it's just created this nice simple, oh, wrong one too. So that's all that's happening there. Really simple. And then that is being combined with this other thing that I've made in Vital. I promise you I'm using Audio Imperia stuff today as well. This is just a free synth. You can download it, use it, whatever you want. Really, really simple, sort of almost like kind of Marcato sub stuff here. So just these stabs. Together, they sound like this. And then we're layering that with a whole bunch of different things. We've got these tonal hits from Cerberus. Just adding some nice fizz. We've got these low pads from Talos. Then we have a couple more elements here as well. We have this guitar from Photosynthesis. Just adding some high end. We have another pad from Photosynthesis. Just adding some of those thirds and fifths. We have this other pad from Araya. Yeah, Araya's got some really cool pads. I was digging through the other day. So there's a bit of distortion to that pad. And altogether, these pads and basses come together to sound like this. Not very well played at the moment, but you can see. So pretty simple stuff. I probably maybe add or refine one or two elements of that as I was working through this. I'm not sure we have everything we need in there, or it might be that we take something out and swap it with something. There's some bits that I feel are missing. That's not important right now. The most important thing is we kind of have the vibe going. So that's really providing most of that kind of sort of synthy, trailery stuff, hybrid stuff. Just quite a lot of synths layered. They're all playing pretty simple things. But that's where most of the kind of oomph of the piece is coming from. We have pitch percussion, with Glockenspiel and Celeste, both from Nucleus, which have been treated with some reverb. I've got some OTT on there as well. I'm just being lazy and using OTT just to hype everything up. OTT is just a great way of adding instant hype. As long as you don't use it, there's a depth control on there. I wouldn't get it much past 15 or 20% maximum, sometimes 5 to 7, because it can get pretty OTT otherwise, no pun intended. But these two together sound like this. I really like this because it's sort of a good mix of organic, but it also sounds a little bit like video game music. You know, sounds like those old-fashioned bells and pings from video games, but in a kind of organic, modern way. So we're sort of transitioning from this sort of more traditional sound. And then we combine that with this sort of more modern pitch percussion. It's like a nice bridge, right? It's like we have this really retro stuff. Then we have something that sort of doesn't quite sound real, but does have an organic, modern quality to it. That's being combined with the piano that's doing the same thing, but quietly in the background. Just adding some of that goodness there, you know, some nice sort of interesting kind of plinky plonky sounds. That's a technical term. It's adding some cool, again, kind of organic quality. Got some reverb and some of the great stuff inside of Gravitas as well. You can see I'm using some of the effects built into Gravitas, quite a lot of them. There's loads of different effects in there, and they just add lots of cool, interesting, shimmery textures and things. So using some of that stuff. So that all together, yeah, sounds like this. Bannerman says, kind of sounds like the trailer they have for the Mario movie. Very true. Yeah, I mean, it's good music, and yeah, we're sort of taking a similar approach, but somewhat different, where we're taking that theme and kind of trailerizing it. And they did some of these effects as well, I think, where they used some of the modern trailer pianos and pings, maybe combined it with some retro stuff as well. Yeah, I mean, it's trailer music has a lot of those kind of similar elements to give excitement and hype and stuff like that. So we've gone that way too in some cases. We've got this choir, which I've treated with quite a lot of reverb to make it sound somewhere between a real choir and almost like a pad. And as we go further through, we're introducing, these are actually, let me make a note, traditional articulations, not slow syllables. And then we get to the energetic syllables down here. So I'm sort of bringing these in as a way of sort of modulating the choir as we get further through this piece. Just adds a lot of energy. I actually think right at the very end there we're getting a bit too much of that kind of choir texture. We want to keep it more pad-like. That works a bit better. And then we have these strings. So we have a few things going on with the strings. We have these high strings, these harmonics that we play those. Just adding some nice shimmery textures. That's sort of going along with what we were doing in this pad here. Let me find it. Filling out that upper frequency. We have this sort of ostinato. That's given us a sense of like a motor. And then we just have some sort of stabs, if you like, these lower stabs. Pretty simple stuff, just reinforcing those big moments. Altogether, the strings sound like this. Pretty simple, but with the rest of it, it just really helps to just add a sense of kind of movement. Sounds pretty cool. Let's have a look what else we've got going on here. I don't think there's much else really going on. Of course, we have the percussion as well, which is by no means finalized. Like I said, I've been just like chucking most of this in. It's not mixed or anything yet, but this is what's happening with percussion. We have a combination of these sticks, which is just helping along with the rhythm in the strings. You can barely hear them, but when I take them out, so they're just adding a tiny bit of like transient kind of rhythm alongside the strings. Hello, how are you doing? Thank you for joining us, George. And then we have some stuff from Cerberus here and some Jaeger drums as well, because Jaeger has this new, well, I say new, it's in the last update, which is a few months old now, but we have this drum kit that we added. So we've got the tight mix in there. Those drums are just making this kind of quite modern. And then we have the drum kit and Cerberus doing this. So just adding a little bit of low end to what's going on. And we could probably mix and refine that, but we're not going to worry too much about that right now. So then we have a bit of a rhythm coming in, which is sort of trailer-like, but not that trailer-like. Probably not a rhythm I'd use in genuine trailer music, but as we said, we're sort of going between, you know, trailer and epic here, so we're not worrying too much if it's not pure trailer. Yeah, so, and then we have these hits, pretty simple stuff. This is just some hits from Jaeger and some Nucleus subs put together. The Nucleus subs are providing the bottom. Nice big hits, and then at the top we have the higher hit. Very modern trailer hit. And then with the sub, see how the sub's just adding all that underneath. It's almost like we can it's almost like we split apart the drums. So we have the high drums, we have the low drums, then we can mix them together to taste that way. When I take this out, we really lose all of that kind of cinematic weight underneath. Bring it back in, it all comes back in. So that's pretty much most of the hits we have. Like I said, we have this little whoosh hit here that takes us in. Cuts out pretty quickly. That just takes us into that next section. Other than that, I just have this. It says scene from the multiverse hits, but it's actually another one of these Jaeger drum layers, just providing this really sort of big snare hit, give it a bit of modern weight. Really simple, sounds pretty weedy and weird on its own, but what it's doing is it's combining with these. You don't really notice it. When I take it out, you might just notice a little bit of the initial hit go. So that's with it, and then without. Subtle, but it's just adding something when it's in the full mix. Bannerman says, I love the toms in Jaeger. Yeah, there's some really good stuff in Jaeger, and I've been using quite a lot of it today. Yeah, so that's pretty much everything. So let me just show you where I've got to again. We'll go through this one more time, and then we shall carry on with it. Cool. So we'll carry on with this, and then we'll try and get this sort of back end done, which is the part that I haven't done. I have some ideas for it about taking the traditional Mario theme and making it a bit more epic, which we'll just give a go and see how far we get with that. I just want to make sure we don't get too much into that kind of choir territory there. I'd rather raise the volume than have it sound too much like a choir. We kind of want to keep a sort of pad-like element to this. In some trailer music, you really want everything to sound very kind of organic and very orchestral. With this, we don't want it to be too orchestral. There's obviously orchestral elements there, but we want to sort of keep it a little bit more childlike's not really the right word, but just a bit more game-like, I guess, or synth-like in a way. I think we really need a quiet Yahoo in that first riser. We do. We should definitely get that. If anybody wants to record a Yahoo, put it on our Discord. Maybe I'll pick it up. Hey, Nick. Cool. So let's just carry on with this. Let's see where we're getting. I know we're definitely going to want those rolls in. Nice copy and paste there. So let's just have a little listen to them. Make sure we get them in the right place. So they're going to sort of end. It's around there, I think. So it's sort of there. Yes. Hi, Nick. Thank you for joining us. And thank you to everyone who's joined us. If you haven't said hello and you want to, feel free. You're more than welcome to ask any questions. If you want to just hang out and not get involved in the chat, that's obviously cool as well. You know, just whatever works for you guys. So yeah, like I said, this sort of is trailer-like, isn't completely trailer-like. There are elements of trailer music in here, definitely. Some of it leans a bit more towards just kind of epic or cinematic retelling of the theme. This sort of rhythm is not something I think you'd usually put in trailer music, but it's not too bad. It could work. And as I say, we're missing a few elements that we may get round to putting in, but it doesn't matter if we don't, because we sort of, I think we've got enough to know the vibe we're going for. And with a bit of mixing and a few more elements, we definitely get that. So if you want to provide the Yahoo, maybe we'll add it and do a final mix of it or something. So let's just copy and paste this stuff over. Now I'm going to change the rhythm slightly, as we always say on this stream. So if you never want to do the same thing too much, even if you're sort of repeating a section, just always try and find little ways of making it different. So there's variation, there's sort of humanity in there. There's just enough to keep our interest. So. Hearing kind of more accents here. Yeah, so maybe actually that works the way it was, something like that. Oh, so yeah, that's nice. It just varies up a little bit. Kind of want to dun 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 dun. With trailer music, very often you're subdividing the rhythms. So you might start off with like a dun 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 dun, and you're going from like 8th to 16th to kind of triplets. It's just adding this kind of consistent sort of excitement by subdividing the beat. Just join Discord. Would I put that? You can, yeah. If you joined our Discord, you can put the Yahoo if you want. Yeah, maybe we'll try and pick it up today at the end. You might be able to get on our Discord and just add it in at the end. This is great. Thank you very much if you recorded that Yahoo. That's amazing. So, yeah, here's where we want dun, 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 dun. And here we want triplets. So you probably, if you like trailer music or you listen to trailer music, this kind of stuff is just such a, it's all about the editing. With trailer music, there's so many hits and things because editors love those hits because they can edit around those hits. They can use them to lead to transitions or lead to big moments. That's why trailer music's full of hits, because without the hits, there's no natural storytelling emphasis points. And very often, to make things more exciting as you go through sections, you might increase the number of hits or subdivide the hits or move from kind of, sort of compound time to triplets or something. All of that stuff's just a way of adding excitement. So, do you see what we did there? We sort of, if I just mute this, or rather solo this, let's go from this beginning. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that just takes us into that outro of this section, and then we'll get into our back end. So pretty simple stuff, but yeah, thank you so much, Bannerman. This is great. Okay, let's carry on with these. I'm very excited to hear what you've done. So let's go back to our 16ths here. So we'll go back to our alt time. I'm just going to use these toms to pick out the sort of accent beats. Just copy and paste. I think we want them there. Nice. Then we just copy and paste again. Just change. And see, this is where we get our little ramp up. Same thing again here. Just move these around so we get our nice triplet feel. Dum, dum, dum. And then we'll probably end on that big downbeat. They got to move there. And we should have something that works. That kind of works okay. With the hits, that'll really help sell that as well. Oh, one more thing I didn't show you, but we have these trailer punches in here. There's different types of hits. Some trailer hits are very roomy and expansive. Some trailer hits are just transient, sort of mid-weight that really just help things come through. So let me just show you very quickly what I mean. Here's our drums. Not bad, but to make them punch through, we're using these trailer hits. Sort of subtle, but without... It's fine, but it doesn't sort of have guts, if you like, you know, with the punches. And you can really hear in isolation what those punches are doing. Sound a bit weird by themselves, right? It's not something you usually use that much by itself, but with the other drums, it really just helps to punch through. So let's finish the rest of this. See if this is working. Yeah, so with these, we don't want everything playing at the same volume here. This is where we're sort of bringing our drums in. Enjoy the Yahoo. Thank you, Bannerman. I'm so going to check this out. When we've done a bit more of this, I'm going to open up my Discord. Might move to just chatting just for a second. Open up our Discord, download it, and then I can get it in our door and have a listen. So stick around because I will definitely be using it soon. Check the Discord, it's fantastic. Ollie's impressed. Thank you. Yeah, I'm super excited about using this. I will open up my Discord in a second and download it. Okay, so we don't want that one, I don't think. We're just picking out some accents here. And then same thing here, we definitely want those four. Dun, 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 dun. I feel like a subtle FGC chord. Da-na-na-na. Okay, so what in the high woodwinds? Let's try it. Let's do it soon. So do you mean like a kind of like a repeating, like da 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 da, or okay, we'll give it a go. When you say FGC, you mean like a kind of like this. That chord, we got the sort of suspended second chord. That could work. Almost done with these drums. Maybe that's a bit quiet. I think that could be a good idea about the woodwinds. We'll give it a go. Okay, we will definitely give it a go. You might have to guide me, but... pop these in, and then we shall try and get out. Don't worry, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We're not in any rush for anything today. If we don't make it to our back end, it's fine. We're just having fun with what we've got. Okay. I don't think we want that one there. Well, we do much quieter. Yeah, that kind of works. Like I said, this is maybe not as punchy as traditional trailer music, but that's fine. We're sort of doing a hybrid thing. Don't think we need that there. Same. I don't actually think we need it here as well. Here it's 16 seconds. Don't think we need that. Or if we do, we keep it, it'll be quieter. Yeah, that's better. Nice. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this line here, just copy it over to our trailer punches, which are here. We've already got them there, but that's okay. Delete them, take that down, and then that's just going to give us the punches that we need. Cool. Now we need increased frequency of hits. I'll just do these little hits. Hits are these kind of like, you got percussion and hits. They're two slightly different things in the trailer world. Hits are the very big cinematic OTT stuff. So that kind of stuff. And then percussion's usually a little bit smaller, maybe sometimes roomier, uses sort of more, divides the beat more. So you can hear on the downbeats, it doesn't provide enough downbeat. So, but with the hits, you can see that's just leading us. And then we're getting more and more hits as we go through. That's another way of increasing the urgency, the hits increase in frequency. Yeah, so what we may do is just add those snares. Nice. Now this may not work, but let's just give it a go. Do these triplets on the hits as well. Let's just lower that. We want them starting. So that's where they're going to start. So if I just move that there a second, we're going to just clip the transient of these hits. So we're just going to start them on the beat. So if you can hear now with those hits, we have this. We're going to move them back. We're going to have them follow the triplets. So let's do that. Done, done, done. We don't want any real softness there. Sounds a bit weird by itself, but with the percussion, I think it's going to work. Yeah, cool. I think that's going to work fine. And then we'll just have one final hit out. And I'm going to move to Discord in a second and get Bannerman's Wahoo. And then we're going to see if we can put that in. Then we'll see if we can put some of the woodwinds in that Toby has suggested as well. That'll work. I think that'll work. It's probably not perfect, but let's have a listen in context. Yeah, cool. That's pretty trailer-like. That would certainly be almost how you might end a section of a trailer piece. And again, editors love these kind of these breaks, these pauses. You know, if you're ever writing trailer music, you'll often be asked or expected to put these kind of moments in that editors can use for like a gag or a serious moment or a line from the film or the introduction of a character or whatever it might be, you know. But very often you'll need to sort of include these moments of, you know, breakdown. Something will happen, and then we'll go to our big final section then. Okay, I'm just going to go back to just chatting 1 second so I can open up my Discord, because I just don't want you guys, you know, not there's anything remotely confidential on my Discord, but don't want to be showing any names or anything. Protect you guys just in case. So here we go. I can open my Discord. Don't do anything there. Okay, let's have a look what we have here. Where did we put? Aha! So can I download this? Thank you, Bannerman. This is great. Okay, let's see if I can. Cool, close that. Move this along here. Let me see if I can get this in. I haven't listened to it yet, but I've loaded it into the door. Let's go back to our door. Yeah, that's gone in. Okay, so where's our door? Here we go. Here we go. The moment of truth. Yahoo for Audio Imperia. This is brilliant. Thank you so much for this, Bannerman. Yahoo! That is so good. Yahoo! So, where are we thinking we need this? First of all, let me just do I have guest vocals stem? I don't. We'll put it in vocals. Vocals all. Welcome to my vocal stem, Bannerman. Hey, Qphone, nice to see you. So where are we thinking about putting this? Let's have a listen. Are we thinking there? Yahoo! Somewhere like that, maybe. Yahoo! Somewhere, maybe. What do you guys think? Where exactly should we put it? That's so good. The voice, who made it? Bannerman, one of our guests today, one in the community. Ollie suggested putting the voice in, and Bannerman said he's a vocal artist, so he's going to do it. And he very graciously did. And now the voice is in, and I'm loving it. So let me show you what I would do. I would do something like this with the voice. Let's just move this up. Yeah, it's got to be there. So do we want it to sort of come in on the day? I feel like they're sort of so good. Yeah, that works for me, I think. Bannerman, this is amazing. This is the best thing that's happened on our stream, I think. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to be lazy. I'm going to put some OTT on it. Again, very little. You never really want to go much above 10 or 15%. But watch how this just instantly adds kind of this like over the top character to it. Yahoo! So before, Yahoo! Or rather before, Yahoo! It's actually not doing all that much, is it? But let's brighten up a bit. Yahoo! Nice. I'm also going to add a bit of compression in there next. Not too much, but we just want to make sure it's sort of even. As you can see, we've got like a big yeah and then a smaller who, which is absolutely fine. And that works great. But Yahoo! We can just even it out a little bit in the context of the mix. Something like that. Yahoo! Nice. I'm just going to put a quick... You should do a sample pack. I 100% agree. I 100% agree. Yahoo! So we're just cutting out not too much, just any rumble or anything there. Don't need to worry too much about it. I could use clarity. I have this thing called clarity, which is pretty good. Should load up fine. That's just going to maybe take out any... Oh, I think that's a bit too... Oh, that's not liking that. Let's not use clarity. I don't know why that's not working. It usually works fine. it's going to be fine that way. And then the final thing we're going to do is we're going to add probably black hole. This is just going to make it in the same space, and it's going to just trailerify it basically.
Yee-hoo!
Not that much. That's a bit much.
Yee-hoo!
Let's see, in fact, if a hole might work better. Black hole may be a bit too much for this. Something like that.
Yee-hoo!
Oh,
Yee-hoo!
that might work better, actually. Let's put it in the mix to see what we think.
Yee-hoo!
This is so good. I think we need more reverb in the context of the mix. But I love it.
Yee-hoo!
Bannerman is bringing the goods. Bannerman is bringing the goods. You know you're going to have to sing on everything we do now. Every single week, whatever we do, we're going to find a way to get some vocals in.
Yee-hoo!
Nice. Let's just do a tiny bit more.
Yee-hoo!
Yeah, nice. We're just sort of scooping out some of the mids, boosting.
Yee-hoo!
Nice. What we could do, I was thinking about the stretching, but what we could do is this. Let's just try this. So, open this up. We've got our black hole send level here. So we've got a little bit of black hole in there. Let's turn it on. And just on that who, this may sound better than stretching, or we could try stretching it, but sort of getting that through. Do we have black hole on? I think we need it go more like there. Maybe we will just stretch it. Let's just see if we stretch it as well. I don't want to ruin Bannerman's beautiful vocals, but maybe, what are we thinking? Just stretching it out a bit so it's a bit more, let's raise it up a tiny bit as well. Stretching it's really simple. Something like that, maybe. Just see if that works in the context of the mix. I think it kind of does. Yeah. We can maybe even make that louder. And just make sure that compressor's not biting too hard though. Nice. What I think we need now is change the arrangement, but in a good way, in a brilliant way. I think we need, where are our glockenspiels and things? Where do we put them? Where do we put them? There they are. We need a glockenspiel on that first thing. So there. Just to really draw attention to Bannerman's. Nice. And then that's just going to really almost like support it like a bit of a choir. I'll make sure he knows that. If you need more, let me know. I certainly will. Thank you. There needs to be a dramatic fade in. So what, like a big ramp in? Maybe we'll just try a little ramp in, like a volume fade in. Let's just go back. Something like this. Oh my goodness, Ollie's got you working now, Bannerman. That's where we'd have. Now, we were talking about these woodwinds, which I think is a really good idea. I mean, we've got woodwinds, so let me just open up all our tracks like this. We've got loads of woodwind here. Maybe if we just try the flutes for now. Bring this over. So we were saying something like this. Is this right? You're going to have to guide me through this if we do it, but I think I get where you're coming from. I'm going to have to listen to the track at the end, Yahoo. So yeah, maybe we'll add those woodwinds a bit later as we go, but I think it's a great idea. I think we should definitely do it. Okay, let's listen to what we have. Now we have this incredible Bannerman vocal in, which has just made my day and made this stream. Show tracks with data. Yes, 100%. We'll definitely add it, Toby. I think it's a great idea. Let's go through what we have so far. So we're starting off with something that sounds like a slightly hyped traditional chip tune, you know, Mario style thing. Going into some traditional trailer stuff with the pings and the pianos and the kind of atmospheres. Then we're going into a kind of trailer hybrid epic thing. You know, it's sort of trailer-like, but maybe not quite as intense as trailer music usually is. That's kind of working. Now, what I think we need to add before we do these woodwinds, which we will get around to doing, is show all tracks. I think we need to get some brass in here. So we have our Talus brass. So maybe around here. Yeah, so sort of start it here maybe. Cool. I just played that in really badly, but that's fine. Just sort of even that out a bit. Bring this over. Quantize all of this. Yeah, nice. That'll work. No, we want that there. Same thing here. Cool. And then maybe... I'm not really going to get them. That's right. We'll get them trombones. I can also do that. Okay, same thing with the, let me just make sure we're on here. Nice. I'm just going to use beats so I can quantize this nice and might help if I actually have it on. So, just added this brass now. Oh, except my... be in the same place. Starting low. Nice. And I think we're going to have... We'll use Jaeger horns here. I'll put these on sustain for now. Something like that. So, oh, might help I actually take that off. Nice. I think that's, keep that there. Something like that. I'm going to do a super quick mix on our brass here. So let me just go across to our brass. I'm literally just going to add, I don't know. Decapitator maybe? Nice, and then I'll just use simple EQ here just to sort of take it a little bit of the mid around here. Boost the highs a tiny bit. So really simple, but it's just helped even everything. bit flatter, bit more brightness. In the context of the mix, it's going to sound like this. Oh, that's... Oh, we're getting some crackling here. Apologies, guys. I'm not sure where that's coming from. Should disable some of these. Don't really have any plugins on, so I don't know what's going on there. Got a few bits and pieces here, but hopefully that won't keep happening. It's just in case, let's disable some of these, but it's nothing to do with the RAM. We got plenty of RAM. We need voice effects with Bannerman. We definitely do. Bannerman, you've completely changed the stream. I don't know why we're suddenly getting all this weird stuff going on. Are you guys hearing all the weird crackling and stuff as well? Might just have to open up my task managers, make sure nothing's going on here. Don't know what's happening. Let's take a look. What's happening here? Why are we now having all of these strange things happening? Let's just see if we take this off. Everything sounds very strange to me here. I'm not really sure why. Okay, that's a bit better. Don't know what's going on there. That's better. Okay, so we seem to be working again now. Apologies, I'm not sure what went on there. Look at this computer. I've got a couple of things I want to add here. The Glocken player gets angry. That's what happened, right? All of a sudden, the Glockenspiel was like moving out in front. He's like, no, I'm not getting heard enough here. I think what it was, maybe the Glockenspiel player has heard Bannerman, has seen what Bannerman's contributed to this, and is like threatened. We have a rogue Glockenspiel player here who's like, I'm not having this, a new star of the show. I'm coming out in front. I'm going loud and proud because I'm not having Bannerman steal my limelight. So here I want another harmony. So that's what I'm hearing, I think. Here it is, I think. That's what I was hearing. I think I might also put that in the piano as well. I think that harmony might be in the original as well. But I just think we need something different there to mix that section up. So bring that down to the same sort of velocity. Nice. That just adds, again, a bit of that interest. This wouldn't happen on a Mac. It definitely would. If you guys haven't seen our sketch to score, was it sketch to score? Yeah, me and Tom did a sketch to score where we used a Mac. I'm not a Mac user, not a fan. But we used a Mac and Tom was explaining how much better it was going to be and it crashed on us. At least this hasn't crashed. It may have gone completely to pot, but it didn't crash. We're still in the room. What about you guys? Are you PC or Mac users? Are you Cubase users, Logic users, FL Studio users, Ableton users? Let us know. Always good to know what you guys are using. So it's actually there we want it. I've got it in the wrong place. Classic. X that out. we're going to want it on the second one, I think. Both. Yeah, I know a few people that use both. I don't really hate Macs. I'm just being dramatic. They're actually fine. I've used them a few times on projects over the years, but I've always been a PC person myself. Mac doesn't crackle as much as my Windows. Cosmodium. You've betrayed me. No, I'm joking. I'm joking, of course. Everyone else, I think, pretty much in the studio uses Mac, or in Audio Imperia is a Mac lover. We obviously use Windows for other things as well, but I'm old school. I build my own computers. I mean, I say I build them. I just slot the pieces together. But, I like the old-fashioned building your own computer, and if something breaks, you can replace it yourself, and I don't have to go and see a genius who will charge me a lot of money. Ollie's happy. So I think we kind of have this, first part done. I mean, there's definitely things I would add. And in fact, there's maybe one thing I'll do. I don't know if we really want necessarily like guitars, as in like guitars you definitely hear. But we're sort of missing a fuzzy element here. But we obviously want it to be quiet in the mix. Let me just take that down. But you see what I mean, right? There's this sort of mid-range fuzz that we're missing. There. Yeah, I think we'll just pop that in. I'm just going to play this in manually. Cool. That all works. I think that kind of works pretty much as it is now. We will try the woodwinds. Let's talk about where we're going to put those woodwinds. What are we thinking exactly? So we're thinking, because I can't remember exactly what the part you mean. I think it's bar 12, 13, the best place for the chord I talked about. Okay, let's have a listen. So there, we want something. Let me just be lazy again, put a bit of OTT on here. So we'll just push those woodwinds out. Something like that. I mean, I'm just going to play something in. You tell me how badly wrong this is. Something like that, but obviously louder. Let's do something like that. I think it's like 3 steps. So maybe just those 3. Listen to the link I sent. Okay, I will listen to the link in a second. I'll go on my Discord. I'll download the rest of Bannerman's epic stuff and listen to this link, and we'll get it in there properly. You remember the stab instantly. I'm pretty sure I am going to remember exactly what you mean. I'm just going to pop them there for now, just so we have a reference. It doesn't sound great yet, but we'll make it work. I promise we'll come back to it and have a little look at it in a moment. It is a good suggestion. And I probably would use some more woodwinds in there. Huge Brahms. Yeah, we could get some big Brahms in there as well. Maybe we'll come back and do that. I'm going to just flesh out this back end, and then we'll come back and have a look at this as well, because I have an idea for the back end. So we're ending on this sort of on the C. I want to try and get this So I'm going to show you what I'm thinking here. Either starting a classic trailer thing, sort of almost make a major thing minor. So we have this, and that's usually on the C, and then to the F. That, but maybe we'll do to the A minor, which is the relevant minor of C. Do you see what I'm kind of thinking there? We either start it on the A minor or get to the A minor eventually, but I think if I just really block this in nice and simple, I'm just going to literally write this in and show you what I mean. The harmonic minor, that's it. We're going using that classic epic trailer technique. Something like this. Something like this. Yeah, something like that, I think. Oh, I write this in properly. And then we're just going to have the big C at the end there. That helps if I get it in the right. Just really copy that in really quickly to mimic the rhythm. Those, nice and simple. Something like that. Obviously, we're not going to do literally that, but you get the idea what I mean. So let me show you. It would be better, worse if the chords were 2 times the length. So you mean, for example, like this maybe? If we did it sort of like this, let's just do the first two times the length. Not sure if it would work, although you could stretch the whole thing out to be twice the length. You know what? We could do that as well if we wanted to. The only thing with that, it would work. No, it would work. So what Toby's getting at, which is an equally good way of doing it. I mean, this is the great thing, right? Every composer would approach things differently. Maybe we'll take Toby's idea today and just run with that one. So. Only thing we'd have to do at the end, well, which is fine. It's just going to be like a G suspended rather than going back. But that's absolutely fine. Or we could maybe do that at the end. If you wanted to, you don't have to, but we could do this. It's going to be, let's put them back to the triplets. So this is what Toby suggested, which is just block that in really quickly, which is another great way of doing it. Oh, minus that weird 7th here end. Something like that. Let's do that, Toby. That's a great idea. Let's just do it that way. This is the great thing, right? There's no right, no wrong. We can just do whatever we want here. Okay, so first I'm going to do is show you how I might just approach this. If I was working quite quick, I'm going to put this on my violin performance legato, just start there. So we're going to want that an octave higher. Put the violin in a good range. We're going to get the modulation right up. Cool. I can show you what I'll do here. So first I'm going to do is copy this down. I'm going to make this a marcato long. I'm going to go in. I'm going to change it to a marcato long and just have a listen to what it sounds like on here. Toby's hearing the horn counter melodies already. So we could let's just try these together. So let's start shaping this a bit. We're going to want, maybe not quite that much. Nice. I'm going to duplicate this again. Take a second just to load up. And then we'll put some like a staccatissimo in there as well. And then we can just shape this how we want it then. So if I just say staccatissimo, we'll use the fast staccatissimo we have here, or spiccato. I say staccatissimo, it's a spiccato really. But you'll see this has obviously a much shorter nature. Hey, Toby, no problem at all. Thank you for joining us. And yes, if you want to watch this at the end, we'll be done. And I'm going to try and listen to your mushroom idea and put it in because it's a great idea. Thank you very much for suggestions. And for the chords as well, I'm going to keep your idea. I think it's a great one. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. It's great to have you guys here regularly with us. And yeah, watch this whenever you can. I'm going to take your idea. Thank you so much. As I say, it's always great when you guys suggest like stuff. That's just how we like to work, you know, throw some ideas out. So I really appreciate it. Thank you, Toby. And yeah, appreciate you joining us. Okay, cool. So this is coming together quite nicely now, you know, just as a basic line. And then we'll get some bass in there and then we'll just build it up. You'll see how we work. It's just a really simple, slow build in terms of how we put everything together. So just want to make that a bit shorter, I think, at the end. That'll do for now. Again, we're pretty early days with this, but cool. That's all sounding good to me. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to start putting our chords in on the bass. So we're starting there at 25. And Toby has suggested these double time, which I think is a great idea. It could all work, and I think that's a nice one. So let's just listen to that. And we're going to do the same thing here. I'm just going to kind of copy that over above, and I'm going to use a marcato. Will AI come with dedicated risers and downers library? Oh, well, possibly. We're always keen to hear what you guys would like and what you guys think would be useful. We have lots of very exciting ideas for libraries, but yeah, obviously part of these streams is always great if you guys have ideas as well. We do listen to all the suggestions and things, and if you know, we think one's going to work or we think that we can incorporate one, we will definitely think about it. But yeah, we appreciate all the ideas and stuff. So obviously you'll have to watch this space to find out what does come next, but I do appreciate all the suggestions. It's really helpful. Nice. So I've just used that marcato to give us an attack on these sustains. And we'll obviously fix up all these lines. They're not going to be played like that. Let's keep going. Let's move this cello. We're going to do the same thing. Make a marcato along here. You know, layering articulations is very common. I would probably usually do it with a bit more finesse than we're probably going to do today, but that's fine. You know, we're just getting the kind of groove and the ideas in. Cool. Next thing we're going to do is start copying some of this over to our brass. And we just have to layer this up until it starts coming to life, basically. That's how these things kind of work. You know, it's, oh, might help if I'm, so copy this one over. Yeah. Bring it here. With this stuff, it's just a lot of kind of layering up until it starts to work. I think we're going to want that maybe a bit higher. Probably going to want those not leaving us so early there. If we don't get this finished today, it's fine. We'll do it another time. We're just going to maybe get as far as we can in the next 40 minutes or so. That'll do for now. Again, we definitely refine all this stuff. So. What we're going to do here is shape this a little bit. This is kind of how brass players would play. Slightly bigger downbeat and then sort of bringing the breath off a little bit. So. But I'm saying Percy out layer the lower layers of the bassy brass with the higher layers to give it oomph. So what are you thinking? Like this, you mean? Where you'd put an octave above? Oh. Can't quite get there, although we could do the range if we wanted to. Is that what you meant, or were you thinking something different? Let me just pop that there. Let's just have a listen. Octave above and below. Oh, wow. Okay, let's do it. Let's just do it. Because you're right. We can always mix this in to taste. And the great thing is with Jaeger, well, all our libraries actually, or certainly most of them, is we have this range. We can take the range down as low as we want. So what Bannerman is suggesting is we now have... I mean, it's certainly huge, right? Obviously, nothing's mixed yet, but we'll sort of get around to all of that. Let's take a little look at what we're doing here. So, one thing I think we do want to do while we're here is just add some reverb to this brass. I already sort of have it here as a sort of ready to go. So just adding a little bit of room. Without that, it just sounds a little bit more... sounds fine, but definitely a lot closer and a lot more dry. With that, it sounds more like this. We get a bit more space, and it just sounds a bit more natural. If I actually get anything playing, there we go. Cool, that's starting to come together. We're definitely going to want some of this stuff going on. Again, just take this down a tiny bit. Just write all this in really quickly. Tiny little gaps for breath there. So we're just blocking all this in for now. We would definitely come back and, you know, create rhythms and stuff, but right now we're just getting everything in. Van was saying, unrelated, but I love the layering of multiple audio Imperia brasses together for Brahms. I agree. Yeah. I do that quite a lot as well. And then sometimes I've got my own recording of some audio Imperia stuff that I've processed. And you know, you're absolutely right. You can get all this great Brahms stuff, especially if you're doing exactly like you said, Bannerman. If you're using the range and getting all these really deep and high notes, you can get some really good stuff going on. Maybe we'll do like a, you know, little lesson on that at some point, just, you know, making your own Brahms or something. So let's just take this. Just add a little bit more reverb to these. Nice. Now, we could either do counter melody and horns, or we could copy the melody onto the horns. Toby had suggested doing counter melodies, which would be a really good idea, and maybe we will do that, but I'm going to copy the melody onto the horns for now, and then we'll sort of visit what we want to do with those horns, whether we want to do counter melodies or... Let's take a little listen to this. Do I have it in the right place? Yes, I do. Why are we not getting any sound there? Of course, because we're in the wrong octave. We're not with it today. Now, this is quite a hard line for the horns to play. Let me show you very quickly what I would do. I would definitely want to use a lot of key switching here. So let me just very quickly try and put some of that in and show you what I mean. So here we go. You can do this quite quickly once you've, you know, worked with these things a little bit. Yeah, nice. Maybe back to that staccato there. Nice, okay. And same thing there, we're going to want staccato, and then maybe the staccatismo there. Back to the Makato. And maybe just staccatismo for the end there. Nice. So we talked a little bit about this in our previous video on Sunday, like our 5 MIDI tips. And one of them was just using key switches in this way to create some definition in lines. You know, in the case of this, we spent about 20 seconds, but we have a line that sounds way better. Not perfect, but way better. We'll sort of obviously finalize all that and finesse it out, but let me know, just add some OTT in there, bring this line out nice and quickly. That will do it for now. Cool. And we're also going to do this on trumpet as well, because we sort of need this line poking out more than it does. So let's see how we do it on the trumpet. It might be slightly different key switches, but it's going to be the same premise. Let's try, if I just move that there, you guys can still see that, I think. So we're going to want... First things first, we're going to want to delete these overlaps. Nice, that sounds pretty good to me. Just going to want that there. Nice, and then a little gap there. Back, I'll actually keep it on that portato. Same thing here, delete these overlaps, let the trumpet breathe. Same thing here. Cool. Yeah. So maybe. Yeah, I think I'm just going to want that one note there to be staccatissimo and this one to be staccato. And then back to the staccatissimo at the other staccato. Yep. Something like that. Nice, yeah, that kind of works. I mean, it would definitely need more finessing, but that's okay for now. Nice, so the brass all together at the moment sounding like this. Let's get those trumpets up. Do the same thing, OTT. I'm being lazy here. Just boosting the volume a bit there. So that'll do for now. We definitely do a lot of sort of programming, you know, to make that sound better. But for now, we're just blocking this stuff in and have a listen to what we got so far. Go back a little bit to our mid section here. Obviously, when we add all the trailer goodness in, this will sound a bit better as well. Cool, that's starting to come together. PK Records saying, I hope you have some summer deals. Great stuff what you're doing. Thank you very much. And yeah, as always, keep an eye out on YouTube or our website. You know, if we have any deals going on, they'll definitely be on there. So do keep an eye out. I'm going to use some short strings now to add some propulsion. So let's just have a little listen to what we want these to do. I'm thinking triplets here, I think. Something like this. Maybe the seventh instead of. Yep, so we're going to want to double time these out like this. And I'm not sure if it's going to be triplets or whether it's going to be sort of 16th and 8th notes. We'll just see. Just have a listen. Yeah, I think we're going to want just traditional 16ths or 8ths, I suppose it would be. Yep. Oh, put them in the right place. I wonder if we'll get some glitchy hybrid stuff for a library one day. Again, great suggestion. Yeah. I mean, we do love making these kind of modern cinematic hybrid things. So, as I say, we are always listening to what you guys are saying. If we, get certain themes or ideas that we can really see you guys want, we'll always do our best to accommodate. I mean, knowing a little bit of the behind the scenes, I think we've got some really, really cool stuff coming. Obviously nothing I can talk about, but we have some really exciting stuff. So definitely watch this space when it comes to libraries. Cool. I think that's going to work. Let's listen in context. Yeah, that's kind of working. Ostinato advice, randomized velocity on the staccato. 100% agree. Yep. What I would normally do if I was properly working, well, I'd probably play these in because there's a great, let me just show you guys. So step input's great. If I click step input up here, I think you guys can see this. Is it hidden? It's hidden slightly, I think. There's a little button. Let me just, if I take me off a second, can I do that? Yeah. There's a step input here. If I click that, I'll bring myself back. Watch what happens now. Doesn't matter how slow or fast I play. It's stepping input according to what we want, which are these 16 notes. So now if I play it, see, it sounds, you know, it just inputs sort of. So if I want to do an ostinato quickly, let's say I want to do it in eighth notes, I click my eighth note button here, I put step input, then I might go. It doesn't matter how badly I play it. And it's responding to my velocity as well. So I could naturally put rhythms in. See what happened? And then when I play this back. So that's a really useful one. But Bannerman, you're absolutely right as well. Another way to do it would be to randomize either with a plugin, or I could just go in and randomly play these in like this. This is... just adds a little bit of humanness. And then another thing you can do is come up here, go to rough, make sure we're on the right setting here, which would be the 16ths. I can just add some rough in here, maybe like 10 ticks or something. Press quantize and see how we're moving all of these a tiny bit. They're staying on the grid, but just moving slightly. If I zoom in each time, little difference. So then if you've written this in manually like I have, you can still add some randomization to it. Just helps that make everything sound a little bit kind of more real, I guess, if you don't want to play it in. What I'll do for now is just keep everything nice and simple, and then we can always add that stuff as we go. But yeah, great ideas, Bannerman, and great advice. We'd obviously fix that up at the end because we probably want something different as we changed. But let's just have a little listen to that. Not too bad. Yeah, I mean, it would definitely need a lot more work, which you probably won't get around to today, but you can kind of see what we're doing. I'm going to do the same thing here, but an octave lower. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to make these longs. Call this marcato long, and I'm going to take both of these. As I say, we probably won't get around to finishing this back end today, but that's not really the point. If I do get time to finish it, I can always upload it to Discord so you guys can see. So now we have the violins in 2 octaves. That will just thicken them up. Before we had this. There we have that. Cool. So altogether, we have this. Still a long way from being finished, but now I can already hear what I would be doing is this. Having movement in this choir like this. So let's have a listen. Just a tiny bit separation there, not too much, and just adding here. But this is just going to add a lot here. just sounds better than having a static choir, I think. Grab all of them, make sure they're sort of lined up. Doesn't matter if they're not perfect, but and copy the rhythm. Go to the dotted here. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, well, we can have that one at the end as well. Come in here and just... That'll do for now, but that's just going to help make everything sound a bit smoother. Not too bad. So maybe just two. Then we just start adding in some of these hybrid elements as we go. So we've had this bass going on all the way through. We'll keep that going, I think. So nice and easy. Just add this in really quickly. Make them a little bit smaller. I think that works. Do the same thing here. We'd have a riser to finish, so let's just get that in. So it's going to end there, the riser, so it's nice and easy. We just come here, push that back there. Then we can change this fade. Pretty much have the riser coming in from, I don't know, but maybe there. So yeah, I think the riser is going to come in from the second half of that back end. Riser is just a subtle way of adding that excitement. So let's now see what else you want to add. Don't know whether you want this. I'm going to add the bass in for now because we definitely know we're going to want that bass to continue. Going to have same thing here. So yeah, a lot of this kind of trailer stuff is when you're just kind of repeating things, you know, getting everything lined up. But we're starting to get there. Cool. And then we've got, it's just, so I think we can get a kind of sort of Brahms style thing going on at this point. Let me just very quickly make sure we're in the right key here. And then when it comes back in, it's going to be here, which is about 25. Cool, and we can maybe just bring that up a tiny bit at that point. It'll be along with the hits as well, which we'll definitely add in next. Cool, so this is starting to come together now, as you can see. I mean, it's a long way from being finished, but you can sort of hear what we're trying to do. Okay, let's grab these hits and start layering them in. So this is where we're going to want these hits. And we're going to do the same thing here. Oh, back a bit. I think we're going to want to bring those hits in more frequent here at this point again. So yeah, we're going to want to bring them, yep, there. Grab this, do this. Then we're just nice and easy, dum dum, and then yeah, so we're going to want to use quantize. Cool. I'll let them just ring out naturally at the end, I think. I have an idea actually, which I'm going to show you in a second, because we probably won't get this whole thing done today, but let's just have a listen to what we have so far and get a good sense of how each part works, and then we'll need an outro, which maybe we'll work on, because I have an idea for that. Bannerman's vocals. So we'd add a lot more to that back end, but I just want to do one thing that I want to show you guys. So if I come in here, let me just grab my chiptune sound here. So we made this sound. This is what we have at the beginning. Sounds cool. But what I'm going to do is this. So you have a square. I'm going to come here, show you guys some ideas here. So you might recognize this noise. There wasn't many sounds that you could use back in the day. Square wave was one of the few sounds that you had. So you had to think of ways that you could use it interestingly. Let me show you. If I take this and make this a square, this is an LFO. If I add this to our pitch, right, and if I make this a value, let's make it 12. If I increase the frequency of this, so you might recognize this. This is how you used to do these old-fashioned, like... So what I have is an idea here at the very end. So let me just show you guys what I'm thinking. Take this out. And then here, 16ths. Something like this. So I think it's going to be, yeah, maybe we'll do it. Actually, no, maybe we'll do it. Let's just see if it works in the 16ths. Might be too fast. No, I think that works. So we'd sort of do something like that, but we'd obviously do it with the rest of the instruments. And then we'll do... Yeah, maybe we'll just have that end, and then we can have the big end there. So we won't do the full arpeggio on that third one. We'll just go da 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 dun, and there. Nice. Something like that. It's nice and fun. And then we'd obviously have a big sort of riser up to that point. So something like this. Nice and simple. Where was it? Yep, so something like that. Cool. Just keep going with this. We're going to want, turn that down. The hits, we're going to definitely want to bring the hits back here as well. So, where are we? Yeah, cool. Oh, don't move that. There we go. So, it would be here. That's definitely how we'd end. And I think we'd want to bring, we have this hit here. Well, we have a few hits here, but we sort of bring all this back at the end to really get the ramp in. Diddle-a-diddle-a-dun. So we're going to want that to end there. So there we go. That's kind of cool. Maybe we'll even bring this hit in at the end. It might not work. It might. Let's just see. So it's going to be there. Cool. Let's see what else we're going to want here. So let's just do these basses. That's kind of fun, right? So they're going to be back there. And we do the same thing, copy these over up here. Octave higher. Oh. Make them an octave higher. Nice. You just shorten those. Same there. Now we're going to do the ostinato. So here. Do that in. And maybe even an octave lower here as well. That's kind of cool, right? And then let's see how we're going to do these brass. Hearing that. And then cool, but maybe we'll make them staccato. Let's give them a little bit more. That's a bit better, right? Or maybe we'll just do it at the very end. Yeah, that works. Yeah, that's cool. That's fun. And then we're definitely going to want a big low brass as well. We're going to kind of want everything here. Nice, yeah. So maybe we do, yeah. Cool. Just make sure if we go on, yep. That will do us. Do the same thing here. Something like that. I'm not sure exactly what we do, but this will do now. Cool. And then we just can do the same thing with this will really give us some excitement, this choir. Let's see. Can we just get the range tool here? I'm not sure if we have the range in. No, we don't. That's fine. Do you want little gaps here to separate? Nice, and I think that's going to work. Add a nice little element here. Cool. Let's see what else we can add in the sort of 10 minutes so that we've got left. I would probably do something on the piano there as well, actually. So maybe not the whole. Yeah, maybe just the chords here, I think, rather than. This could be fun. Yeah. But we just want that to be kind of more of a stab at the end. You know what? I'm going to try low. That's cool. What have we got going on here? Let's see. Get our bass in there for sure. So we're going to want. Nice. And we're going to do the same thing with our Reese bass up here, our deeper bass. It's going to be here. Little gaps there. So let's have a little listen to that last section. Now that would be where you get your final joke at the end of the trailer, right? That often happens, especially in like a family or comedy film. You'll get like the big epic stakes at the end, you know, all the action in this point. You get a little gag, and then what they call like a kind of button. And what I would probably do there is maybe just slow down that tempo right at the end. Almost treat this as a little separate thing going on here. And I'm just going to really bring out that chiptune element. Yeah, more like that. And I think what we'd want to do actually here as well. Let's think about this. Probably on these trailer punches, maybe. Something like that. Because we're missing a little impact. So maybe it could just be that, along with the percussion. That kind of works. And then with the percussion, which we didn't finish in the back end, but that's fine. I'm just going to drag all this out. We can just sort of copy and paste this over at the end. So let's grab one of these. Okay, should move this in the right place. So there. I think what we need here is just a little ramp, tiny little ramp into that section. See, just these tiny little details just help. Without that ramp in, just starts a little bit abruptly, but with a tiny ramp in, just sort of helps, right? I mean, we might not even need one that big. That's kind of cool. Is there anything else we could add there, maybe? Let's just see. Yeah, that might work, just to sort of add a bit of high-end excitement at the end. And again, we probably just start that almost like a beat early. We're going to want to do here, elongate that so we hear that. Oh, sorry, Bannerman, I didn't realize you said, I wonder if we ever get some glitch stuff. Ostinato. Sometimes I'll even synthesize my own hits out of white noise and dubious amounts of sine wave corruption. Great idea. Yeah, I mean, there's some really good sound design advice from Bannerman there. It's a great way of making your own hits. And I mean, in the trailer world, as much as you can make yourself or have your own, it's always great because, you know, people are looking for sort of new sounds or fresh approaches. There's a load of great libraries out there, and libraries are a great way to work, obviously, but sometimes it's good to either make your own stuff or take a library and mangle it up somehow in a way that sort of gives it your own flavor. It's a really good idea. So yeah, that's a great advice from Bannerman. Synthesizing your own hits, white noise, sine distortion. You could add in snares from other sample libraries or toms from other sample libraries if you wanted some more organic elements, you know, if you don't need them always. And I think we're going to want that in there as well, sort of a bit of mid-rangey goodness. Yeah. Cool. And I think we can get I don't know if they're really going to add much to this. We might not have them. Don't think we're going to need any of that stuff. I think we kind of have pretty much everything we would need there. We could maybe do... I think that's not really going to add anything, to be honest. Tell you what we could do right at the very end there, though, is maybe get the ping back in. So... possibly. That would probably work, and that would be our kind of way of fading it out naturally. So maybe we want it faded out by there. Yeah, nice. I think we could fade out even sooner. But that just adds sort of like a nice trailery button. So let's listen to the whole thing and just see what we've got. We definitely didn't finish this, but we did a pretty good job. And we got some incredible stuff from Bannerman here. These vocals, which are brilliant. You can play them in isolation once more. So Bannerman made this, put them in our Discord.
Yee-hoo!
It's so good. Good fun. I mean, we definitely want some drums to kind of fill in some of those subdivisions in the back end there, but that's fine. And we didn't get around to really mixing anything. We got a few plugins on here, but it's all just kind of hyping up the sound. We didn't really mix anything too much. There's a lot we could do. One tiny thing I might just do at the end here is just extend these out a little bit, smooth out that end. Same with our brass here. To go into the trombones. Really, might help if I actually solo the brass. And same with our low, we're definitely going to want. We don't really have any. Yeah, a bit longer there. Yeah, I might just slow down that part right at the very end, just a tiny bit more. That works, I think. Yeah, that was good fun. You know, we didn't get everything done, but we got kind of most of it done. Maybe I'll try and finish it up at some point and maybe put this one in the Discord as well. As I said, we did a Marvel trailer or fanfare a few weeks back, and I've cleaned that up. I'm going to put that in the Discord. So if you're in our Discord and you want to have a look at that, you'll be more than welcome. I'll try and make the Cubase project file and the MIDI file available for anybody who's working in different doors. And that's something we'll try and do here and there when we can, is make some of these files available just for you to dig into and do, you know, whatever you like with them. So we shall head back to just chatting and we shall wrap up for today. Cool, here we are. So back in just chatting. Thank you so much to everybody that joined in. Thank you, Bannerman, for your amazing vocals. And I think you might have put some more on the Discord. If you did, I'm thinking about just finishing this one up, doing a bit of a mix on it, getting all the good vocals in. We're going to finish up that woodwind as well, because I know Toby was talking about the woodwind. I don't think we got it quite right. I'm going to go listen to the mushroom track, and then I'm going to fix the woodwind up. And yeah, I think maybe just add those drums at the end. And it's pretty much a done piece then. It might not be 100% perfect, but it'll probably be good enough to maybe make available in the Discord, have some fun with. Cool. So next week, we're going to be doing How to Train Your Dragon. We're going to be having a little look at that. Live action film is coming out very soon. Obviously, one of the best scores of modern times, in my opinion, and I think quite a lot of people's opinions. John Pell, fantastic composer, and just, you know, knocked it out the park with How to Train Your Dragon. So much fun, great themes. We're going to maybe have a look at writing in that style. We're going to maybe analyze the score and look at some techniques that John Pell uses and maybe get them into our composition. So it's going to be a little bit more traditional maybe next week in terms of the orchestra, but it's going to be great fun. If you haven't heard the How to Train Your Dragon soundtrack, take a listen. Some of the best themes in a long, long time on there. And I'm excited to hear the live action version as well, see if they've made any changes, see what they've done. So that's what we're going to be doing next week, having a little look at How to Train Your Dragon. Thank you, Bannerman, again. Yes, no, thank you so much. And like I said, I'm going to check the Discord and look at all the stuff that people have put in there. And yeah, we'll fix this track up and add all the goodies that other people have dropped in. So yes, How to Train Your Dragon next week. Join us for that. It's going to be good fun. In the meantime, thank you all so much for joining us. This has been a really fun stream today, doing a kind of epic trailery version of the Mario theme in honor of the recently released Mario Kart World, which I haven't played yet, but looks great. And that's another great soundtrack as well. Maybe one day we'll do something just plain in the style of that soundtrack, because it's such a great classic, you know, soundtrack. The whole Mario Nintendo sound is just such a great sound. And yeah, check it out if you haven't. So no, thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you've enjoyed helping, Bannerman. It's been so great. You've absolutely made it. We're listening one more time to Bannerman's contribution because it's so good. In isolation. One more time, because I just spoke over that. It is so good. I love it. Thank you so much, Bannerman. Yeah, so join us next week for How to Train Your Dragon. In the meantime, have a great week, whatever you're up to. If you're making any compositions, doing any music, put them in our Discord. We love to hear what you're up to. If you're happy to share them, we would love to hear them. There's a few in there that I know I haven't listened to yet, so I will be listening and commenting on those as soon as I can. But we really do appreciate everything that you're putting up. And yeah, similarly, if you have any questions in the Discord, any ideas, if you want to talk about anything music related, get in there, post up. We would love to hear from you. So thank you so much for watching. Have a great week, and I shall see you next week. Until then, take